Alrighty, in this video I'm going to be kitbashing the Lord Exulant. It is a fantastic miniature, don't get me wrong, it is a beautiful miniature. I really like it, but I want to customise it. And I've got some ideas. This is not going to be a drastic kitbash, he says, but I do have some ideas of things I want to change and some other bits and pieces that are going to go on him. And the biggest change, and one that I think could destroy the entire miniature if I don't do it right, is to change out this torso area, and I'm going to have it exposed. I really love the Codex cover, and I think is it the Flawless Blades, they have their stomach area exposed, and I want to do that on this miniature as well, just to make it different. And yeah, to do that, I'm hoping this Carrack Acolyte can sacrifice himself and work. You can see it's very similar. Now it will be thinner in the middle, but again, on the artwork, that's how it looks. And yeah, it might work. It might fail terribly. But the only way we're going to know is if we try. So yeah, that's the plan. I do have a backup plan. So yeah, but let's get into it. So, I mean, luckily the piece is like hollow at the back, and it's going to be pretty easy to separate the top of the torso, or the torso, I should say, really, just the torso itself, from the legs. And yeah, the armour should also be quite easy just to remove from this bit, just going in with the clippers. So this is the easy part. Now I can neaten that up with a hobby knife. But yeah, the difficulty will be trying to get this to fit sort of like that, isn't it? So I think the first thing I want to do is let's just chop the legs off here, and I'm not going to go all the way up to the torso. I'm gonna leave some, because it's a lot easier to take some off than it will be to add some on. I might even leave that little belt area. Yeah, I think... Well, actually, I'm not going to jinx it, but I think it could work. So I film these in real time, because if it does fail, I just won't release the video. So if you're watching this, then you know I've had some success somewhere. But yeah, I quite like that. The top half is going to be difficult, but we know how much we do need to remove. So let's make him armless. And yeah, though I'm not going to show the whole process because you're probably getting bored already, but I think if I take definitely everything above this sort of area, definitely, and this is where it starts getting my clippers are just literally just stuck to the clippers. Does anyone else have the issue with these GW clippers where they just slightly bend after use? They're good clippers, but I don't know, I've had others that last longer. Of course, for us as a company, we use a lot of clippers, we snip a lot of stuff. So yeah, we go through them quicker than the average bear. And I think just making this as narrow as I can get away with, I have to sort of be mindful of what's going to be visible, because I don't want to be snipping into areas that you're then going to see, although I could cover them with trinkets and whatnot. But I think most of this area upwards is going to be hidden, so it might be easier for me to file it down. So I'm not going to show you that whole process, but yeah, I'm going to just snip this down until this fits over it, essentially. Okay, so after a lot of trial and error and sanding and snipping and all sorts, I actually got it on and it worked. So you notice there is a little gap, but that shouldn't matter because later on we'll be adding this piece, and that will cover that quite nicely. And to be honest, I can always put in a little bit of green stuff or whatnot to fill that up. Now I was going to switch out with Tabard, but I actually quite like this one, so I'm probably going to keep it. but that doesn't go on yet. So the next part of this build is pretty straightforward. I'm just going to give him his normal spear. I just really like it. I really like Phoenix Spears. I did think about switching out the blade, but then you end up with a blade that you just know is just going to break off. So I could pin it, but I'm just so lazy. And it'd be quite difficult to sort of pin through a sort of blade like that. So that I am keeping. And the reason I'm giving him this loadout is because I may decide to do the combat patrol. So he has the spear and the fist, although I'm not going to be using the fist, I'm going to be using something else, and I'll be doing that later in the video, because I'm actually waiting on some Slaanesh Fiend Bloods is what they're called. I'm going to use one of their claws. Hopefully they will turn up tomorrow, and I'll put that on. But we can build the rest or majority of the miniature while we wait for that. So that's meant to go sort of like that. Yep, fair enough. I'll get that cleaned up and glued on. Okay, so that's how he's looking with the spear, and I'll put one of the shoulder pads on as well because they're really nice. Doesn't want to focus on it, but there, yeah. Cool. So I'm going to work on the backpack next, and I'm not going to use this normal backpack. I'm going to use this one from the Chaos Possessed. I quite like how the spikes give these skulls a sort of mohawk, and I think that works quite well with Slaanesh. I've also put the back piece on. Normally I'd have 2 spikes coming off this, but I've chopped them off because we can put on the Slaaneshi symbol. And before we do that though, I also want to try replacing this star here. So I've got one of the bodies from the Myrmidesh Painbringers, and yeah, the chest piece has like a nice round Slaaneshi logo on, which I think I could try and pilfer. So again, there'll be a lot of cutting, but I think if we go around it and then get it nice and flat on the back, that should hopefully give us a nice Slaaneshi symbol. Hopefully. It's going to take a little bit of snipping and cleaning up, but yeah, I'll do that and then we'll see if I can manage it. Okay, so here's how the backpack's looking. It's a bit messy underneath because I glued it on and then it sort of slipped down, so I managed to get plastic glue on there. So that's a bit annoying, but yeah. We have this little Slaaneshi symbol, and we've got a big one on the back as well. So next up, he's got this cloak thingamajiggy, and that sort of goes on like so. I really like this cloak on the miniature. I think it's quite cool. It's going to make painting the rear end of him a bit hard, but not impossible. And then the backpack will go on top like so. And then as shown earlier, we have this piece which goes across the front. So I'll get that all glued up, and yeah, there won't be too much more to do. Alrighty, so here's how he's looking now. I've got the backpack on and got all these bits on. There's just a little bit there where I don't really like the look of it. It's a bit of a gap, so I'm going to take some modelling chain. Hey, look at the focus, nice. And yeah, I'm going to put that around there. So it's going to be really fiddly, so I'm not sure how much I'll be able to show on camera, but essentially what I like to do is just put a dab of super glue. Oh god, that's way too much super glue, but a dab of super glue at one end, and then dip the chain on it. Try and get that in the right place, like so. And then I'll just let that dry. Oh god, it's stuck to me. I hate using super glue for this exact reason. Yeah, we'll get it in like that, and then I can just start again. Oh dear, I'll keep all this footage in. I won't pretend I'm doing this perfect. But yeah, that's what I'll do. I'll do it off camera because it's so fiddly to do with just a camera right in the way. But yeah, essentially I'll just glue one half, let that dry, and then put the next bit where I want it. Yeah, like that. So once that's dried, then I can just move that bit around where I want it, glue that in the other half, and then trim off any excess. So that Myrmidesh Painbringer body from earlier, these are part of the legs. There's a nice little Slaaneshy symbol on there, which I'm going to try and snip off. So we can just sort of butcher these as much as we want. No one really buys these bodies from us, so it's quite nice having quite a few that if I do muck this up, I know we've got plenty in stock that I could use, but yeah, and then I'll just trim around that little bit, and I'm going to hang this off the chain. So the chain is now on, and I'll just hang this off the chain. Hopefully I can get this off as neatly as possible. That was attached to a little bit of chain itself, just that tiny little pit on the end there. So hopefully that will help it look like it is attached to the chain and not just on there. So yeah, again, fiddly as anything. I'm trying to show you guys on camera. I mean, you know what it looks like to snip and trim bits, but you know, yeah, I'm gonna glue that on. That's gonna be really fiddly, so I'll get the tweezers out for that and get that glued on. And then I'm filming this part of the video a day after the previous part, which means I do have my spearhead, which I do want to build up at some point. And yeah, it's got the Fiend Bloods in there, so I can pilfer one of these claws, because I know you have a couple of spares. So yeah, I didn't buy a whole spearhead just for this one claw. I've been planning to do this a Head of Knight's spearhead for ages, and this has just given me the excuse to purchase it. So yeah. Okay, so we've got that little trinket attached now, and yeah, it's looking cool. So I've clipped off the claw that I want to use, and I really like these claws. I think they're a good size as well. I don't want to have it as long as that. I think that looks a bit too goofy, quite long. So I think shorten that down. Yeah, whether to have a claw facing up, or whether to have it across. The only annoying thing is this big old armour thing here. We have to snip and trim that down. It's a bit annoying, but that should be okay. So what I'll do is I'll start by doing just a little bit like so, and then I'll just tidy up that little bit there. It's a bit scratchy, that one. Never mind, that'll be fine. And yeah, do we have it like that? I quite like it up, actually, like that. Yeah. So yeah, I'll just trim that little bit there as well. We'll have it like that. And I think all what's left is a head. I was contemplating giving him a pistol holster. The one on the backpack might not come off too cleanly. It's missing a little bit of a corner there where it's attached to the backpack. So I'm not sure whether we'll get that corner very well. So I may try and find another holster if I've got any. But I'm just thinking where that claw is. We could slip one under on his leg there. And of course we have the head to do as well. Okay, so actually I've scrapped the idea of having a holster, because how would he shoot the bloody gun? It does feel like something's needed in that area, but yeah, it'll be pointless having a pistol holster because that claw's not really going to pull a trigger. So yeah, I think all that's left to do is put a head on. So I don't particularly like the heads in the set, and of course this is a Kitbash, so we've got to do something different. I really, really like this piece of artwork in the Emperor's Children Codex. It's just really cool. Trying to find a head like that's quite difficult. The closest I could find is a Grey Tide Studio head, which I've got over here. It's not really sort of focus. It's not got the whole sort of diseased flesh vampire-esque sort of look to it. but I could paint the skin in that sort of way. So yeah, you might think it's a bit weird that we've got like a non-mutated head with a mutated arm, but like I would do the skin in like sort of a paley, purpley colour, and that would hope to sell it a little bit. And the head does look a bit small, but when I compared it to the sort of bare head this Lord comes with, is exactly the same size. So that's going to go in there, and our Lord will be done. And here we have the final miniature, and you'll notice I've added a little bit more chain onto him. There was a bit of a gap on the shoulder. I think that's just where it just didn't quite go together properly, probably because of that midriff I added. So yeah, rather than trying to green stuff it, put some chain over it. Chain fixes everything. And I wrapped it around the claw a little bit, which I think looks okay. I think once it's all painted, you know, that'll look pretty cool. So yeah, it's a simple kitbash really. A lot of little steps and a lot of fiddly little bits to do. But I'm really happy with how he's turned out, and I look forward to painting him up. And if you want to see him painted, then do feel free to follow us on our social media accounts, which are in the description. Instagram is the best one for this, as I definitely post everything on there. I do try to remember to post things on the others as well. But yeah, really happy with how he's turned out, and I hope you have enjoyed this video. And if you have, please do feel free to give it a thumbs up, and you can subscribe to our channel if you haven't done so already, if you want to see more kit bashers and paint tutorials and whatnot in the future. So thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all again in the next video.